Okay, so today we wanted to talk about the trigonometric functions of any angle. Okay, so last video we talked about the trigonometric functions of the right angle. So now we wanted to see what happens to any angle. So we wanted to draw the angle in the standard position and let P equal to xy to be any point on the terminal side. And so x is what? The x coordinate, y is the y coordinate. So the x and y coordinate will make the right triangle. Here is x, here is y, and r is the hypotenuse, which is what? By Pythagorean theorem is square root of x squared plus y squared. So what happens? Sine, what is sine? Y over r, x over r, y over x, and all these things, yeah? R over y, r over x, x over y. Okay, so this is the trigonometry functions of any angle. But one thing you need to be careful: x, y here are the what? Coordinates. So they can both be what? Positive. They can be positive or negative, yeah, depending on your quadrant. But r here is what? The distance is always what? Positive. Keep this in mind. Later on we will talk about this. Okay, so yeah, so we will look at the example. P here is what? 1, -3. So your x equal to 1 and y equal to -3. R will be equal to what? Square root of 10. So what will be your sine theta? Sine theta is y over r. So it's -3 over square root of 10. You keep the negative sign here. That's very important. And then you want to rationalize the denominator because square root, and then you multiply itself to get rid of square root. So you have a -3 square root of 10 over 10. You guys clear here? Yeah, so this, and similarly you will be able to do it with what? Cosine is x over r. Cosine is what? The cosine theta will be what? The adjacent over r. Okay, adjacent over r. Okay, so here. Okay, so and then similarly we can do what? Tangent. Tangent is y over x, -3 over 1, -3. Cosine theta, r over x, secant theta, this, cosine theta, this. Okay, so pretty straightforward, yeah. So you only need to remember sine, cosine, tangent, because what? Cosecant again is what? 1 over sine. So if you remember y over r, that will be r over y. Secant is what? 1 over cosecant. Cotangent is what? 1 over tangent. So it's a reciprocal property, and then you can do it very, very, very easily. Okay? Okay, otherwise if you remember r, y, r, it will be confusing. Okay? Okay. So these are the, all the answers here. So that's combined together. Okay. So evaluate, if possible, the cosine function and the cosecant function at the following quadrantal angles. Theta equal to 0. What is cosine theta? Because no angle is adjacent is what? Still 1 over 1. What will be cosecant? So your x equal to 1, y equal to 0, yeah? So because 1, 0, yeah? X equal to 1. What will be cosecant theta? Cosecant theta is what? 1 over sine theta, yeah? So 1 over sine theta, that will be your what? Opposite, y. Oh, it will be what? Y over r, but you have to what? Reciprocal, it will be r over y. So r is 1, y is 0. Anything over 0 is what? Undefined. So cosec theta is what? Undefined. Okay, and similarly, you can find what? This one. What will be the sine theta here? What will be sine theta here? It's 1, yeah? So because cosine theta is 1 here. What will be the secant theta here? Secant is 1 over cosine. This one is what? Undefined. Yeah, so you guys need to be careful. Okay, so this one is okay too, 180 and 270. Okay, so you guys can practice these two. Okay, so this is the thing that I talk about, in the right triangle. It's all start trig class, yeah. So what do we choose? All. So because sine, we choose what? Start. Tangent, we choose T. Cosine, we choose C. Yeah, all starts trig class. So these are the things that they are positive. Sine and cosecant are positive. Tangent and cotangent positive. Why? Because cosecant equal to what? 1 over sine. So this is positive, then this thing is positive too. Okay, so then we can practice. So if we wanted sine theta less than 0, cosine theta is also less than 0. So which quadrant is this angle in? It's not this, not this, not this. So it has to be in what? Quadrant 3. Okay, so for the sines, it will also what? Define the, tells you which quadrant is this angle in. Okay, so this is a very important technique. Okay, so if we have tangent theta equal to negative 1/3, cosine theta less than 0, so what will you do? First, all start trig class. So cosine less than 0, so it cannot be here, cosine less than 0. Okay, tangent is negative, so cannot be here. So which quadrant is this thing in? Quadrant what? 2. This is how you defined tangent equal to what? Negative 1/3, so it cannot be in the third quadrant. So this is how you defined it in quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, sine theta is what? Positive. Secant equal to what? 1 over cosine, which will be what? Negative. So you have to know sine is positive, secant is what? Negative. Okay, so when we know tangent equal to this, okay, so how could we, okay, so actually, I would recommend you draw the picture. So what will you do? You wanted what? Second quadrant. X coordinate is negative, so y coordinate is positive. So it's negative 1 here, positive 3 here. Are you with me? So this is the angle. Oh no. Sorry, no. Okay, so forget about what I just said. Okay, so here you draw this triangle here. Okay, so because in the second quadrant your x coordinate is what? Negative, because tangent is what? Opposite over adjacent. Yeah, opposite is your y. Yeah, so that's 1, and adjacent is what? Negative 3. So this is your angle. Yeah, are you with me? So this is how you draw the picture. That's draw opposite. So negative 3, 1. So what will be the r? Square root of x squared plus y squared equal to what? Square root of 10. So what will be sine? Sine is what? Opposite. It's 1 over square root of 10. Yeah. Okay, secant is what? RO is what? 1 over cosine. Yeah, so you can do hypotenuse over adjacent. Yeah, so square root of 10 over negative 3. So this is this one. Okay, so the next important thing is called what? Reference angle. So what will be the reference angle? Okay, so reference angle is always what? Positive and acute. Okay, so it will be formed by what? The terminal side of theta at the x-axis. Do we need to be the positive x-axis? No. Okay, it's only x-axis. It's the terminal side with the x-axis. Like, there are several examples. So if the angle is in second quadrant, what will be the terminal angle? It's right here. Third quadrant, it will be right here. Fourth quadrant, it will be right here with me. So it's always positive terminal angle. It's always close to the x-axis because it cannot be here because what happened? It will be obtuse angle. So it's bigger than 90 degrees here. Okay, so theta, find the reference angle. So theta equal to 210 degrees. How could you do this? Before you know these things, yeah? So what will you do? Okay, I would recommend you draw the picture. So 210 degrees, here is 90, and to the line. So you draw here is 90, 180. Huh? Here is 90, here is 180. So 210 is a little bit more than 180, so it's right here. Are you with me? So if you try to draw the picture, and you will also know the formulas. Theta prime is what? Theta, the 200 is in the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, it's always what? Theta minus 180, so it's minus 180. So this one is in the, which quadrant is this one in? 4/7. It's a little bit less than 2. Yeah, so it's in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, what happens here is 360 minus theta. It's also what? 2 pi minus theta if it's in readings. So you 2 pi minus theta. So this is what? Fourth quadrant, third quadrant. So this, the top one, this is the third quadrant formula. This is what? The fourth quadrant formula. Okay, and this is your second quadrant formula. Okay, theta equal to negative 240 degrees. Okay, this one is, it will be very easy to draw the pictures. Okay, negative angles, it will go from clockwise. Yeah. Clockwise. So we go from here to here. Here is negative 180. Negative 240 is right here. Okay, so it's negative 240. This is negative 180. So what will be this angle? 60 degrees, yeah? Yeah. So you will know, if you draw the picture, you can easily know this will be 60. Yeah. So theta equal to 3.6. And for this one, I would, yeah, so you have to know that what will be pi, 3.14. Okay, 15296, 3.6 is a little bit more than pi, so it's this. Okay, so this one you have to know this thing. It's a tricky one. Okay, so find the reference angle is greater than 360 or less than negative 360. What will you do? You draw the alpha in the standard position. And then you find the angle with the x-axis. Yeah, so this is what we do there. Okay, you find the reference angle. You can do all these things. Okay, so 665. Y revolution is 360. Then you want it to give me a perfect circle here. So you have 360, continue more. So 300, another 305. So what do we have? It's, you can forget about the 360. Yeah, so so you can minus 360, give you what? 305. And this will be in the fourth quadrant. And then use 360 minus 305, give you 55 degrees. Okay, you can do similar with these two. Okay, we're not do it every question for you. Okay, so use reference angles to evaluate the trigonometric functions. Okay, so how could you use the reference angles? The reference angles has to be combined with what? ASTC. Okay, because reference angle is always an adequate angle. It does not give you the sign. But what will give you the sign? ASTC. If you know the quadrant, you know the sign. Then combine with the reference angles, life can be easy. Okay, so this will be the idea. Okay, use the quadrant, use the reference angle. This is what I just talked about it. Okay, so sine of 135 degrees. So 135 degrees is within what? Quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, so what will be the reference angle? It's always what? 180 minus the theta. So it's what? 180 minus 145. 135 degrees. So it's what? 45 degrees, yeah? Okay, so this is your reference angle. Yeah. Oh, this one, what are they doing? So this is not the PowerPoint is wrong, yeah? So theta prime is what? 45 degrees. And 135 degrees, which quadrant is this thing in? Quadrant what? 2. And sine is what? Positive in quadrant 2. So it's what? Positive. Sine what? 45 degrees, yeah? So it's what? Square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so because quadrant 2 sine is positive, or start TC, sine is positive here, yeah? So we choose positive sine 45 degree. Okay, so I think they are doing a different question, not for this question here. Okay, so tangent for 5 power 4, you can do the same thing here. So 5 power 4 is in the what? Third quadrant, and tangent is what? Positive. So this is third quadrant is what? Minus pi. This is the third quadrant formula. Okay, it's positive ASTC. Positive right here. With me? Okay. Okay, so this one you can practice. Typically, I do not like secant. Okay, so what I do, typically what I will do is I will use 1 over cosine. This is just me, okay? So you can do whatever you wanted to do. Okay? Okay, so that's the end of this section.